New 72 Radio, the voice, views, and visions of the collective.
My name is Mary Berger, and welcome to Waking the Spirit. I am your host for this evening's show, and we meet every other Thursday from 7 p.m. until 8 p.m., roughly 8 p.m., depending on, give or take a few minutes or so. So this is the show for those of you who are relatively new on your spiritual path. And I try and give everybody a little bit of information on how to navigate your path. So with that said, the host of this show, of course I'm the host, and the company that produces this show is New 72 Media, new72media.com. Kelly Lair is our producer working behind the scenes, and I thank you, Kelly, for being here and making sure everything runs smooth. So with that said, if anybody would like to call in and chat during the show, I'm going to give you two numbers. The first number is 646-568-7788. And the second number is 415-762-9988. So with that said, I'm going to start out by doing a few announcements, kind of letting you know what's happening in the spiritual scene in the greater Portland, Vancouver area in the next week. The first thing that I want to talk about is it is a seminar this Sunday. It's called Empowered, and it's put on by a woman named Jennifer Elise, and she also has a show on the New 72 portal. And so this Sunday from 1 to 4 p.m., it's going to be at the Elysian Ballroom. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right. I've never been there. And for information, you can go to jenniferelise.com. She's going to have, I think, 3 speakers. Andrea Wilhorn, she's going to talk about a journal writing workshop. And then the topic of igniting storytelling will be done by Cinda Lansway. She's been on the show before. And then Jennifer will be unveiling a film that she created called Empowered. So from 1 to 4 p.m., in Portland at the Elysian Ballroom, jenniferelise.com, ALYSE. So it's JENNIFERALYSE.com if you want more information. I will be there, and I'm looking forward to it. So the next thing I want to talk about is actually, I'm doing it a little bit out of order here. I wanted to get Jennifer in first. On Sunday morning, New 72 Media is hosting their Portal of Awareness at 7 a.m. And this particular portal is called the Portal for Gaia, for deep healing and all living inhabitants and life forms. And that is being hosted by Kelly Lair, who is our producer behind the scenes, and one of the 3 people who are the main people at New 72 Media. So that is always a great way to start out your Sunday. Wake up, plug into it. It's very relaxing. So while you relax, you're also having the opportunity to send your healing energy out for Gaia. It's always a beautiful, beautiful experience. So you can go to new72media.com and go into the Portal of Awareness and check that out. On Monday morning, I host a portal on the it's actually called the Technology Healing Portal. New72media.com. And the Technology Healing Portal is, I'll probably talk a little bit about my technology a little bit later in the show, but it is designed to send out healing energy for technology. And a little bit more about that later in the show, but that is Monday morning, 7 to 7:30. The portal actually opens at 6:50, so you can go to new72media.com and check that out. Oh, and one of the things I wanted to say about this was usually when I open this portal, I also connect. I connect, I'm doing the portal through my laptop, but I also connect my iPad and usually my iPhone. And last week I had another laptop sitting on my desk that needed a little bit of healing. So I connected that into the portal as well. And connecting your technology in will allow it to receive that healing energy and hopefully make it exist in a little bit more of a peaceful environment. So if you are so inclined, feel free to connect multiple devices. The next announcement I want to talk about is next Thursday, New 72 has their next show is called Talk Time with Debbie Wallace and Teresa Wolf Silva. And it is Thursday from 4 to 5 p.m. They have a guest this week, actually two guests, Ed Owens, who's a certified grief recovery specialist, and then Sue Lyons-Merrick, who is a photographer, lovely woman. I actually had coffee with her this morning. So they will be on Debbie and Teresa's show next Thursday from 4 to 5 p.m., new72media.com. They are charming. They always do a great show. Make sure you tune into that. So those are my announcements. Actually, I think I'm going to talk about one more. I've got the website open up on my screen here. If anybody out there knows who Hay House is, they're one of the largest spiritual publishing houses in the country. And right now they have going on what they call the World Summit, the Hay House World Summit. And basically that happens once a year. And what they do is they take 4 weeks and they give you free access to 100 interviews and movies. And the interviews are done by Hay House authors and publishers, and they are interviewing other Hay House authors and publishers. Always fascinating topics. They are right now on what they call Series 2, which is the second week. And there's probably, I'd say about 20 to 25 different interviews you can listen to. There's 3 different videos. Actually, I think there's 4. Wishes Fulfilled by Wayne Dyer. Debbie Ford presents The Shadow Effect. So that's the second one. Then they have 2 different videos on Tales of Everyday Magic. And they're completely free. All you have to do is really sign up with your email address, and then you get free access to all of the interviews. This morning, I listened to Anita Morjani, Creating Heaven, Reaching for Love. It was about an hour-long interview, and I've actually seen her speak live a couple of times, and she has a fascinating story. She had a near-death experience and came back from that and has written a book. And if I recall, I think in the interview this morning, she talked about the second book she was writing. I think it's called Is This Heaven? Or This Is Heaven? I was kind of working on my laptop at the same time, so I had one ear to the interview and one ear to my laptop. So I know I'll probably go back later on and listen to it again just to pick up the details that I missed. But she is fascinating. The other people you can listen, Teal Swan is always an interesting interview. Doreen Virtue, I listened to that one last night. Frank Lippman, Bruce Lipton, Denise Lynn, Louise Hay. The week 1 sessions are also live, but just because you missed week 1 doesn't mean you will miss out on all those sessions. They're live. So now there's about 50 different interviews up on their website that you can actually listen to. So I would highly recommend going to hayhouse.com, signing up for the World Summit, and partaking of these interviews. I remember, I think these have been going on for about 4 or 5 years, but I remember 2 years ago was the first time I knew about the Hay House World Summit. And I listened to Michelle Buchanan's numerology interview. And that's when I became fascinated with numerology. I got about halfway through the interview and I stopped listening. I went to Amazon, bought her book, read it, did my numerology chart, and I've been fascinated with numerology and numbers ever since. So that's the Hay House World Summit. Highly recommend you going out and taking a listen. So the next thing I want to talk about is, and I don't even know where to start with this particular topic because, there's a couple of topics I want to delve into tonight that kind of, they revolve around each other and they play off of each other. So I think I'll start at not quite the beginning, but I'll start about 18 months ago. And some of you may have heard me talk about this before. And if you have, I apologize for making you listen again, but I'm going to tell it again. So about 18 months ago, I actually, it started in a couple of different areas, but I was actually at Kelly Lair's house. And Kelly Lair had a small group of people over to do a energy healing session with an energy healer. It was the first time I'd ever met her. And it was fascinating. And I think the actual energy healing kind of opened me up to receiving. And the day afterwards, I received quite a huge message from my angels and guides. And that message was they wanted me to start exploring doing energy healing with technology and computers. I had no idea what that was going to look like at the time. I was clueless. All I knew was that I needed to figure it out. So, I kind of winged it. I really didn't know what I was doing, but I started investigating crystals and various crystals that you could use with technology. A couple of months after that, I was guided to take a Reiki class. So I took Reiki 1 and Reiki 2, and I started doing Reiki on technology and just to backtrack, for those of you who may be listening to this and don't know, I own a business called Computer Diva, and I fix and repair technology. So hence the reason why I'm sure I was guided to do energy work on technology. So with all of that said, so I took Reiki 1 and 2, started doing Reiki on technology, and had some pretty interesting experiences. And so kind of fast forward to the beginning of this year, it's been a busy year for guidance for me, an extremely busy year. I started out the year with a dream that I was given a 1-day-old baby, and I was asked to take care of this baby, and I just immediately felt this intense love for this baby, and began the process of trying to figure out how to take care of this baby. And the dream was so real to me that I went out and registered. Oh, and in the dream, I was told the baby's name was Emily May. And so because the dream was so real to me, I went out and bought the domain emilymay.com. And I started listening to guidance about what to do with that domain. I didn't do anything with it to begin with. And then I got the guidance to create a blog. So I created a blog, and I got the guidance to kind of document my experience. So I did that. And then I had a reading with a very talented woman, Deborah DeFries, up here in Battleground, Washington. And bottom line in that reading, we talked a lot about the Emily May project and what I could possibly do with it. And so basically Emily May is kind of a transition business for me. It's a real business now. And I will eventually, and don't freak out if you're one of my customers, I will eventually transition from Computer Diva to Emily May as my main business. But it will be years before Computer Diva is no longer up and running or available for me to help you with your computers. So don't freak out when you hear me say this. So in the meantime, in this reading, I asked my angels and guides, I said, if I'm transitioning from one business to another, whether it takes me 2 weeks, 2 years, 2 decades, whatever, how am I going to be supported financially to make this transition? So the guidance I received was, I will start selling transitional products and services, either under the Computer Diva umbrella or under the Emily May umbrella. It doesn't really matter, but there will be transitional products that I could sell off of either of those websites that will start to generate an income for me so that I can make that transition from one business to another. So the first transitional product that I was given, and I am given these ideas by my angels and guides. The first one, the idea was a technology candle. So to kind of explain that, you all need to know that there is this very, very talented woman named Jamie Rayleigh up in the Vancouver Battleground area in Washington, who makes candles, and they're all spiritually based candles. And I have up on my shelf here, I have probably 7 or 8 of them. Beautiful, beautiful candles. There's a new moon candle, there's a full moon candle, there's a sacred spaces, Blessed Mother candle, and they're all made with soy wax and crystals, little crystal chips, depending on the subject of the candle. That will dictate the crystals that are used. Could be some oils, could be some sage, maybe some lavender, and they are meant to handle specific purposes. So my idea was to create a technology candle that will take the sodalite that I use on technology to absorb the electromagnetic energy and a little bit of black obsidian. And I asked for some lavender and some sage and some rose to be in the candle. So I asked Jamie to make a prototype. I've got the prototype here, which I am burning. So this is the prototype candle. You can see I have burned it quite a bit. I use it almost every day in my office. These have about a 40-hour burn life, so they will last quite a long time. And the actual prototype had a black ribbon on it. I switched it out for a blue, and this is kind of our prototype label. And I had 2 people also receive these prototype candles and work with them and test them out. And I got some really good feedback on them. So that's what we started with. That was probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 weeks ago. Then we started working on labeling. We started working on external materials. And I received guidance to start using a particular artist for the label. I knew I wanted the label to be really, really beautiful. I wanted it to make the candle stand out and be gorgeous. And so I talked to an artist friend of mine, Catherine Delaney. She lives up here in Vancouver. And she did the artwork for the label. And I don't know if you can see this. I'm going to hold something else up. Let's see if we can see this a little bit better. That's a little bit better picture. So Catherine had kind of painted this about a year ago, but it was in greens, and it was a little bit more feminine. And so I met with her and said, I would love to license this piece of artwork to be used on my candle. And so she took it and she changed all the greens to blues, and she kind of manned him up, if you will. And we turned that into the artwork that we're using on the label. And this is Archangel Michael. And Archangel Michael is the protector of technology. I work with him very closely when I'm working with healing computers and technology. So she did a gorgeous, gorgeous job on this. And so I'm lucky enough to be able to know her and to be able to license this artwork. So from that, we took that artwork and we made the label. And Kelly Lair, the producer of this show, designed this label. And instead of it being vertical, she gave me a horizontal option, which I just love. And so she created this label. We gave the graphic to Jamie, the candle maker, and she printed the label. She used some pretty high-end paper here. It's kind of a step up from what she normally uses, so I was very appreciative of that. And so she printed the label, and if we look inside the candle, we can see all the ingredients. We can see that there is some sodalite stones in there. There's some black obsidian. We've got some rose petals, sage. You can kind of see little bits of sage leaf in there. And what is the last ingredient? The lavender. How could I forget the lavender? One of my favorite pieces. So we've got those 5 ingredients in there. High quality soy wax, really nice wick. And so these went up for sale. I created an Etsy store, and these went up for sale a week ago, and I am close to selling out on my first batch. So they've been hugely successful. So if you go to Etsy, if you're interested in this candle, you can go to Etsy and look up, just do a search on technology candle, or do a search on Emily May, Emileeemae, and you will find my store. I think I have 5 left. And once we get down to just a couple, I'll have Jamie make another batch of these, and we'll post them up for sale. With that candle, we have printed up, this is a 5x7 of the artwork. I thought it was so beautiful that I wanted to give a 5x7 of this artwork on a limited basis to probably the first, 50 or 100 people who buy the candle. So you get this very high quality paper. It's not flimsy. It's, really good cardstock. Then we also have an instructional card here. We talk about on the front, we've got the picture of Archangel Michael, technology candle, and we talk about Archangel Michael here, and it says, his name means protector of God. He is also the protector of technology. The technology candle is infused with the love and protection of Archangel Michael. It is purposefully designed to keep your computer and your technology safe. Read the blessing prior to lighting the candle. Place near your computer, trust, and know that all is well. And then on the back, we have the ingredients, and then we have the blessing. This is the blessing that you could read prior to lighting the candle. Kelly Laird designed this card and actually put down here at the bottom, that's what they call a sigil for Archangel Michael. Until Kelly put that there, I didn't know what a sigil was. So it's kind of a graphical representation of his name. So this will come with the candle as well. So I just wanted to let you all know about that candle. I am very passionate about this candle. It's kind of my baby right now. And so if you're interested in buying one, go ahead and head out to my Etsy store. So with all of that said, I want to talk a little bit about signs. This is the show for people who are relatively new on their spiritual path. If you're watching this show, you're either a good friend of mine and watching for support, or you are new on your path and you're looking for information. And you can either watch this show live, or it is being recorded, and the audio will be posted on Blog Talk Radio, and the video will be posted on the New 72 Media YouTube page. So on this show, we probably have more people watching the recording than we do live, which is fine with me. I really don't care whether you listen live or you listen to the recording, but I would love for you to listen. So anyway, signs. So now I have 2 businesses going. I have Computer Diva and I have Emily May. So I'm a really busy person right now. And I know that sometime in the near future, I'll start receiving signs and guidance about what my second product will be to sell on the Etsy store. I have no clue what it's going to be right now. I kind of have an idea for a second candle, but I'm just waiting for Spirit to tell me what's going to happen. So with these 2 businesses, especially my computer business, I have been receiving signs since Thanksgiving on how to expand my business and offer new services. And I've slowly been taking those signs and that guidance and implementing them. So what first happened, and I'm telling you all this in this story because, if you are new to your path, I wanted you to know what some real life signs were and how you could recognize them and how you can kind of take them and run with them. So in my case, the first sign I got about my Computer Diva business was last Thanksgiving. I received some guidance, and it was pretty strong guidance, that I needed to purchase and implement a few new pieces of software in order to help me manage my business. And this all came in the form of an email. And it was really interesting because I had taken a virus remediation course probably about 18 months ago. And the gentleman who taught this course, he is down in Texas, and he sends periodic emails out to his former students, letting them know about products and services that they could be utilizing in their business. And this email contained 3 different products that I knew the minute I read this email that this was guidance from my angels and guides. And they were telling me, we need you to start using these products because you need to take your business up to the next level. And you're not going to do it unless you use these products. So the first one I purchased was a CRM, Customer Relationship Management System. And it was really a no-brainer. The full price of it was really rather spendy, but I believe we got a 40 or 50% discount, and it made it really, really affordable. And it basically allows me to take about 3 or 4 of my other web-based software packages and combine them all into one. So, money-wise, it really kind of made sense. So I haven't quite eliminated the other software packages yet. I've eliminated 1. I've got 2 to go, but it takes time. So anyway, this piece of software has been amazing for me. It's keeping me organized. It's keeping all my data in one place. It handles all my invoicing. It handles all of my what we call ticket tracking, customer requests, all that sort of stuff. It's fabulous. So I've been using that since January 1st. The second piece of software was actually it's a tool that allows me to take a lot of my different utilities that I'll run on your computer to do virus scans, to do tune-ups, cleanups, that sort of stuff, combines it all into one little piece of software. And it allows me to put that piece of software on a client's computer and pick from a menu all the different utilities I want to run. And I just say run, and I can kind of sit back with my feet on the desk and watch the computer do all the work that I used to do manually. So it allows me to, number one, do a much better job for my clients. It allows me to run a lot more utilities on their computer than I normally would have time to run. And it keeps me efficient. So it's just a fabulous piece of software. And if you hear a dog whine, it's because my dog is at my door. Come on, you want to close that door for me, please? Come on, Pet. Thanks. So now she's in the room with me, which is awesome. Hello. So anyway, it allows me to be really, really efficient with the computer cleanups that I do for my customers, and allows me to do a whole lot more in a lot less time. So the third thing was not actually a piece of software. It was actually a book, and it was a book written by a woman. I think she's in Michigan, and basically the book was all about how to run your own computer repair business, how to start and run your own computer repair business. So I purchased that book. I think it was $25. It was a no-brainer. And I've been systematically going through this book and implementing various pieces. So I knew that that particular piece of email was to guide me towards being a lot more efficient with my business, which will allow me to go to the next level, which I am about to do. So the interesting part about this is I am now at that point where, okay, I've implemented the guidance that I've received, and I've been trying to figure out the past couple of weeks, actually probably the past couple of months, okay, how do I take my business to the next level, which is managed services. And so I actually had, the past 36 hours have been really interesting because yesterday morning, I think, I was actually sitting here in my office working on my computer, and I had gone to a website that I don't normally go to. I was looking for some information, and I saw there was a little sidebar that listed technology news. And in that little sidebar, there was an entry for a what is called a computer business podcast. And this particular podcast, I clicked on the link, and this particular podcast was all about the main guest on this podcast was a woman from New Jersey. I was trying to remember where she was from. She was a woman from New Jersey, probably about, I'd say, 30 to 35 years old. She has her own computer business. But what she specializes in is computer training, one-on-one training with senior citizens. And I work with a lot of senior citizens, and I thought this would be really interesting to listen to. So I listened to the podcast. I actually downloaded it onto my phone and took it out in the car with me, and I listened while I was driving between appointments in the afternoon. And it was amazing. And that the whole series of events yesterday was kind of a rabbit hole type thing. So I started out with this podcast, which led me to this woman's website to check it out. And at the end of the podcast, they were advertising a particular piece of software for managed services, which led me to that website, which made me realize that this product for managed services is actually a sister product of the customer relationship management software that I put into place on January 1st. So I spent a good portion of last evening kind of going down that rabbit hole and researching all of these various things that I had found, the websites, and how I could implement this managed piece of software. So basically what this piece of software will do, it's a little piece of software that I put on my customer's computer, and it allows them to click on the icon to request service from me. That's the basic form. And then if you get a little bit deeper into it, it will actually monitor various processes on the computer and tell us, okay, did a recent blue screen of death happen, and what was it? How full is the hard drive? Does the hard drive need to be defragged? Is there a firewall issue? I mean, there's a whole list of things that it monitors on your computer. And if a trigger is, if there's a trigger on one of those issues, a window will pop up on the client's computer, and I will also get an email and a notification saying, hey, there's an issue with this client's computer. They'll get this screen that pops up saying, hey, you might want to request some service because your firewall is turned off. It just allows me to kind of monitor my clients' computers and kind of jump in proactively in case there's an issue. So I've been experimenting with that today, and I've also already put it on some computers that I'm managing on a monthly basis. So I'm kind of testing it out. So it's really interesting that this one little link that I saw on a website yesterday, I knew instantly was guidance, and I knew that I needed to hop on that guidance, and I needed to just see it through. And so, I'm just one of those people who in my spiritual life, I just say yes to whatever's put in front of me. So I said yes to this guidance. So I'm working with that. The second thing that happened, which I'm still trying to decipher, is a dream I had this morning. So this dream was really, really interesting. I was, the dream was so long, but the important part of this dream was I was climbing a mountain, and there were two donkeys that were pulling this long cart with some hay in it. And I was sitting in the back of the cart, and there were several other people back there. And we were kind of walking, the donkeys were pulling the cart up this road, kind of winding through the mountain. And we were in some foresty, wooded area. And pretty soon we came out of the woods, and the path kind of went this way. And all of a sudden, the woods disappeared. We were above the tree line, and it was nothing but a sheer drop off. And it looked like it was going to kind of wind around the mountain to the top with this sheer drop off. And if anybody's seen those crazy videos on either YouTube or Facebook where they see this bus full of people, and it's on this really narrow ledge, and it's way tall up, and if the driver even turned their wheel slightly, the whole bus is going to fall off the side of the ledge. That's what it was like. So me having this huge fear of heights, I immediately said, I'm not going any further up this mountain. I'm getting off this wagon and I'm going back the other way. So, and that's what I did. And the interesting part about this whole dream, I think it was a lucid dream because I was kind of having the dream and then looking down at the dream from above and kind of deciding what it is that my character in this dream was going to do. And I was trying to decipher it. So I get out of this wagon and I start walking back down the road the other way and looking for safety and hoping that I don't fall off this ledge. And I get to a particular point and it appeared what happened was there must have been a rock slide, and the road that we had just come across and passed was now completely blocked by rocks. And I could kind of try and crawl my way through the rocks and tunnel my way in. But the more I did that, the more I realized that there's no going back that way. And my only way to go is to go forward on this road. And that's kind of where the dream stopped. And, I woke up and I realized, whoa, I remember the dream. I laid there and tried to analyze it, went back to sleep, had that part of the dream all over again. And that happened about 3 times. So it was really interesting. So I was trying to figure out, okay, what's going on here? And to quote a friend of mine, what's the metaphor? So I was trying to figure it out. And the conclusion that I came to, and I'm not quite sure it's the ultimate conclusion, but it's as far as I've gotten so far, because this dream just happened this morning, was that the metaphor was you have to manifest your way out of this. You have to make something happen, and you have to manifest the next step. And I kind of extrapolated that into the 2 businesses that I'm running right now, and the fact that I need to figure out how to manifest myself to that next project that I'm going to sell on my Etsy shop for Emily May, and I have to manifest what my next step is going to be in terms of taking my computer business to the next level. So it was just a really, really interesting dream, and it's still not over. I'm sure that more signs will be coming, and I will figure that out. So with that said, signs are, it's really important that you kind of pay attention to the signs, and they happen all around us 24/7. And for the most part, we are just really kind of unaware of it because we are so focused on our lives and we are so in our minds. And we're spending our time getting through the day, getting through the next 5 minutes, getting through the next 10 minutes, trying to figure out what is it we're going to have for dinner, how are we going to pick up the laundry and the groceries, and how are we going to get the yard work done. We're so busy focused on our everyday minutia of our lives that we're not pulling back and kind of looking down on our lives and trying to figure out on a global picture spiritually, what should we be doing and what direction should we be going in? Because we are all here for a reason. We've all been put on this planet for a reason. We've all requested to be put on this planet for a reason. We all have a purpose. And one of the biggest things we can do with our lives is to figure out our purpose. So it's important to step back from your lives on a regular basis and kind of tune into the spiritual side and try and recognize the signs that are happening around you all the time. That's kind of what I wanted to talk about in terms of signs. It was just a really, really fascinating 36 hours for me. Like I said, it's not over yet. So with that said, I don't see that there's anybody who are who is wanting to call in or chat. Oh, Beth is here. Hi, Beth. So glad you're here. So, so with all of that said, I just kind of want to remind everybody that our next show is going to be 2 weeks from tonight. I don't know what the topic is going to be, and I usually don't know until at least a week before the show. My spirits and my spirit guides, my angels, usually give me the topic about a week out, and then I start doing the research and I plan for the show. So if you want to join me 2 weeks from tonight, 7 p.m., and we're going to cut it a little bit short for tonight, but I want to thank all of you for listening in on my show. I hope you got a little bit of good information out of what I had to say, the signs. Really important that you pay attention to those. So thank you so much for listening, and I want to thank Kelly Lair for being my wonderful producer behind the scenes, and I will see you all in 2 weeks. Thanks a lot.